Hello.
Hi there.
My question's about Up, and how did you feel for an album that had such a small CD releases, a very small amount CD release? How did it feel winning the Oscar for that after such a small release? Most of it was digital.
Yeah, it actually didn't have a CD release just until now. Just until right now. Just a few weeks ago it came out, and it was one of those things that Disney felt like, well, these things don't really make money, so let's stop making them. Which is a shame because there's a lot of fans and people who would love to have that CD. Yeah, it was the first time they did that. I don't think they're going to continue doing that. I think it's hard to say, but Jonas here was actually at the forefront in making sure that that CD eventually did come out. You know, he was really adamant that CD came out. To be able to keep something on the show.
We made them for the crew, but we wanted, we wanted them to sell.
We wanted all you guys to be able to have it as well. So thank Jonas for that. That was really his doing. It was great. So
thank you.
Yep.
Hi.
Hi.
First, I just want to say thank you for your music because Lost is like nothing without the music on it. And my question was, are you in a different mindset between the animated movies and the live action movies?
No, not at all. Actually, it's one of those things. I look at Remy the same way I would look at Sawyer. They're both characters to me that have their own issues. And it's about figuring out what these issues of the character are. So whether it's Ethan Hunt jumping off a building, or Captain Kirk, going after somebody, or Carl Fredrickson, putting balloons on his house. To me, they're all characters. They're all people. I try to treat them all with the same kind of respect that you would treat anyone that you know in your real life. Because that's what you're looking for, those real emotions. Because each of those characters need to be feeling something, and it's always about zeroing in on what is that.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're writing, how do you know that what you're writing will time up to a certain event or cut in the film?
It's part of the spotting process, You're watching a scene and you have to time. One of the first things I do when I sit down to write is I time out all the hits. I go, okay, 3.4 seconds in, he turns a corner, and I want to make sure I hit that because that's an important story moment for some reason. And I find all those moments, and that's the first thing I do is mark in bars and beats. I figure out my tempo, and bars and beats, I figure out bar 48, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. So those are all the things before I even start writing music. I always figure out that timeline first.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hello. I actually had a Star Trek question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make her melt.
All right.
No, I'm not one of those fans.
Why did you change the title?
No, there's in the beginning of the film, when George starts to save everyone, there's this really awesome waltz motif that you composed for that scene, and it's never in the film again, and I just wondered where that came from.
That was, there's a moment when Kirk is born, and it was kind of a thing between George and his wife, and that was the end of their relationship, and that's kind of why it never came back, because story-wise, that really didn't affect anything later for the character in that particular story. It was just kind of the showing, okay, this is where Kirk came from. Now, it's not to say that at some point in maybe another movie it wouldn't come back if the right scene called for it. But I did look for places where it might make sense, but it didn't ever present itself in the film. So it's just a one-off thing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You can have one more question.
One
Yeah,
more?
sure. Actually, we need two more. This gentleman up front,
this
too, had a
gentleman would,
question.
yeah.
So let's let him go.
Hi, thank you so much. Well, first of all, I just want to say that I'm a humongous fan, and I've been studying your scores for a while. I'm a film scoring student at Berklee College of Music, and I'm so in love with your music and how Up can just bring me to tears just listening to it, even driving in my car. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Should be listening to Cars instead. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Anyway, I would just like to ask for your advice, and also I would like to know what score touched you so deeply and just led you to this.
To doing what I do?
Yes.
What score? Oh, you know what? It's all kinds of music. all kinds of music. The Lawrence of Arabia score, I remember as a little kid, was one of my favorites, Maurice Jarre. It's incredible. I remember Planet of the Apes affected me in a huge way. You know, of course, Star Wars, of course. I mean, the list goes on. There's a score called The Accidental Tourist that John Williams wrote, which is just a beautiful score. I mean, Benny Goodman, Louis Prima, I could go on forever with all my influences. John Philip Sousa, believe it or not. I was the weird kid when I was listening to all this. I didn't listen to rock and roll or any of that until much later. I was always listening to like marching band music and things like that, and polka, whatever. I just loved all instrumental stuff that involved an ensemble playing something. So I mean, it's really just goes on and on. But ultimately, it just comes again, like I said earlier, just the experiences in your life that you kind of draw on, which you pull from to create this.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think we have one final question.
Hi, I'm a big fan. Hi. I just have a quick question, Michael. So over the course of your career, you won an Emmy, and you won a Grammy, and you won an Oscar. I'm curious, what crazy scheme you're hatching to be able to complete the EGOT?
Now, full disclosure here, this gentleman here is one of the directors of Prep and Landing. And How to Hook Up Your Home Theater, The Goofy Short, and The Ballad in Essie, and, you know, so they have a long story career. But, okay, what am I hatching? Yes, I do have ideas that I would love to do for that, actually. I mean, because I grew up being in shows all in high school and in college. I did a lot of musical theater, and I absolutely love it. So I think if the right thing came up one day, I would dive into it in a second. But not to get the EGOT, just because it's something I really want to do. You know, because I always loved that kind of music as well, everything. So
He's working on his ESPY first.
yeah.
Well, very good. You know, I just want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank you for having me and for.